episode of Mystery Babylon, so-called America, showing their hypocrisy again. All right. Now, this is a quick little video, Lord willing. This is just a news report, and we're going to see the conversation the news reporters is having with this mass shooting that recently happened yesterday, right? So the Most High is turning the heat up, like we always say. I want to give all honor and all praise to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. Prophecies of the news. Stuff is turning up. Let's get a scripture real quick. This is the book of Job 36. All right, Salaki. This is the book of Job, chapter 36, verse 13. But the hypocrites in heart heap up wrath. They, meaning us, meaning the Israelites, cry not when he, meaning Yahweh, binds them up. Right? So when the Lord start binding up the hypocrites, the saints will not cry at all. The saints will not come against what the Most High is doing. And that's what he's doing today. He's binding up the hypocrites in heart. Why? Because they heap up wrath. Verse 14, they die in youth, and their life is among the unclean. Verse 15, he delivers the poor in his affliction, right? He's going to deliver the poor in his affliction. And this is how he starts delivering the poor in his affliction. He delivers the poor in his affliction and opens the ears in oppression. Our ears done been opened up to the truth through oppression. Through oppression. So, yeah, we just going to show a little clip. Just show the hypocrisy of Babylon the Great, you know, because they truly are the definition of a double standard, man. Let's get that matter of fact real quick.
Here's the definition of double standard. A rule or principle which is unfairly applied in different ways to different people or groups.
See that? Double standard. A rule or principle which is unfairly applied in different ways to different people or groups. Absolutely. That's double standard. So, you know, and look, lo and behold, they got the image of people when it comes to double standard. Look at that. This place is a joke, man. Total joke. It has always been a joke. We only been here based off our prison sentence, but our prison sentence is coming to an end, and we're seeing that every day. The Most High showing us, if you have open ears to hear. We almost out of here, Lord willing. We all make it. All right. Nevertheless, we got to continue on showing the hypocrisy so we can understand that we are getting close to our deliverance, man. All praise to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. But the hypocrites in heart heap up wrath. All right. So let's see what they got to say. These are this, and this is why I put the serpent and Eve, because this is literally what it looks like in the spirit. Wicked against righteousness, justice against injustice. Right. So they're opposite from each other. She's on one side of the table and he's on the other side. And they're going to explain about this shooting, but get in more detail of why these shooters are who most of these shooters that's been going on, what ethnic group are they? So let's go.
Good morning and welcome to Rising.
Just wanted to address, obviously there's a different setting today, dealing with some technical issues all morning, but we hope to get everything fixed ASAP. Until then, of course, we want to get straight to the news. 4th of July celebrations in Chicago were very unfortunately marred by a mass shooting yesterday when a 22-year-old, allegedly Robert Bobby Crimo III, allegedly shot and killed 6 and injured many more with a high-powered rifle during a parade in the Highland Park neighborhood. He's being called a person of interest so far in this massacre. He is in custody. Let's watch.
What I can tell you at this moment was approximately 15 minutes ago, the subject that we were looking for, the person of interest, Robert Crimo III, was spotted by a North Chicago unit at Buckley and 41, his vehicle, the vehicle that we were looking for. He attempted to initiate a traffic stop on that subject. That subject did flee. A brief pursuit went on. Ultimately, they were able to get the subject stopped at Wesley and 41 in Lake Forest. The subject was taken into custody without incident. So at this point, I, again, want to reiterate, things are moving very quickly, as they do, unfortunately.
Notice they always get brought into custody in a real respectable manner. After a mass shooting, very respectable. You know, they come out. It's like a family issue. You know, you get when your father and your uncles they all come out and address the issue you did. That's how these police address or approach these damn terrorists, so-called young white men who's literally just butchering people. And after the butcher, they just lightly grab them. Come on, brother, it's gonna be all right. Hey, we just read, the hypocrites in heart heap up wrath. They, meaning us, cry not when he, Yahweh, binds them up.
And we just want to keep you updated with the most relevant information. The person of interest is now being taken to the Highland Park Police Department, where we're going to begin the next phase of the investigation and speak with this person to make sure or see if, in fact, he is connected to this incident. So that's really where we're at right now.
While we don't know much about the suspect or his motivations, we do know that on social media, Crimo depicted himself to be an amateur rapper and frequently posted disturbing videos on his YouTube channel filled with violent imagery and also depicting mass shooting fantasy. According to NBC News, Crimo rarely posted about politics, except for 2 posts expressing support for former President Donald Trump.
Someone who allegedly knew Crimo tweeted, quote, the shooter had no political ideology other than to co-opt random aesthetics in furtherance of his interest in alternate reality games and was a stoner who had lost touch with reality. I'm actually getting kind of echoes, and it is so early, and it is just, irresponsible to do any kind of...
So early, irresponsible. Look at the slithering snake. We're gonna hear how the snake uses his split tongue to explain what this man's character really is. But the way he says it, he's gonna try to make it sound a little less extreme, because that's what they do to lessen the blow, because it will affect knowing that he's white. And he's a white male, it will affect all the white males' image. And he don't want to destroy the white male image like he destroyed the so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Latino and Native Indian man image, right? There's a book back in the day I used to read. It was called The Assassination of the Black Image, of the black male image. And they have already did that through homosexuality and gang culture and everything else. after the 60s, they basically destroy the black image. So now, by the spirit of the Most High, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, he's destroying the white male image, because he's the head of domination of these different countries and lands. And also you got the fake Caesar Borgia Jesus who everybody worship. So if the white male image gets destroyed, then all that lines up with that white male so-called masculinity image will be destroyed too. So this is why the so-called fake God and fake Christ is being destroyed with them. So they're trying to. So what are you doing? Lessening the blow.
Crazy speculation. We're going to find out more about the guy. But what this feels so far similar to the Arizona shooter, Jared Lee Loughner, in that disturbing kind of.
Now, Jared Lee Loughner is the one that did that mass shooting over there in Arizona. Now, the reason why he pointed at him because he was deemed as mental illness. So he's trying to look what they're doing to lessen the blow. They always got to label mental illness immediately when it comes to so-called white men. But anybody else, he was either terrorist, he was this, you know the story. So just look. We looking at him protecting the white male image, even in the midst of a hellish state like situation like what just happened. You know what I'm saying? Now, if Jake was over there, you shouldn't have been over there, Jake. You shouldn't have been over there celebrating. I'm just gonna keep it real. With the Most High is really, if you really pay attention with these last two shootings and these areas, right? If you look at what's really going on, the Most High is really telling us to come back to him, to keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. And I'm gonna show you why. How bad it was at Buffalo, right? What day was that Buffalo shooting on? Saturday. Now, according to Nehemiah and a few other scriptures, in Exodus chapter 20, we're supposed to celebrate the Sabbath day, which is rest. And on the Sabbath day, we don't spend money. So we don't go to the store. I don't go to the store whatsoever. Nobody goes to the store. So that would have been a void. Brothers and sisters would have avoided that situation because they wouldn't have been there. Right? Also with this this parade thing. Hey, the scripture says, go not the way of the heathen, nor follow his ways, right? Or his customs in Jeremiah chapter 10. So if there was Jakes that got hit, they didn't show who really got hit. But we know that majority of these parades be Edomites. But if there was Jakes out there that got hit, then you shouldn't have been over there anyways. Now, hey, this like I said, this how serious the Most High is drawing a line in the sand. And he's saying, look, I'm trying to judge these nations for judging you, but you in the way. All right? So pay attention, man. Hey, we go back to even that shooting years ago with the, I don't know what city that was. I think it was in Texas at the Walmart. That was Hispanics, right? So-called Hispanics. Hey, guess what day it was? Saturday, right? You can go back to the movies. The white guy that ran into the movie theater and shot up everybody. Right? What day was that on? Friday night. It's from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. All right? We don't do anything but praise the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua that he got us in these latter days. Unless we, bring it out on the highways and byways for sure. But anyways, let's keep going.
Obviously deranged individual with a lot of disturbing social media posts, sort of disturbing behavior, but not and sort of not identifiably political so much. Yeah, they say he was at a Trump event, like dressed as Waldo.
Right. Pictures of him posed with a MAGA cape.
Yeah, a MAGA cape, but it doesn't. It's not. It's not clear.
Now, I want y'all to see this woman's face, man. Because first I thought she was cooning at first. You know what I'm saying? Because most of our people cool, you know what I'm saying, when they on these big what. I want y'all to see her face though. Because she's not going for this stuff. Because he first said Waldo, you know, he kind of looked like Waldo, and you know, and then and then he had a mega hat on, and she put emphasis on the mega hat. Then he kind of slowed it down, saying, "Yeah, you know, look at the serpent, man. Look at it. It's funny. It's very hilarious."
They say he was at a Trump event, like dressed as Waldo.
Right. Pictures of him posed with a MAGA cape.
Yeah, a MAGA cape, but it doesn't. It's not.
Look at her. She looked dead in the camera. She knows what's going on, man. And look at her. Look at the serpent. I'm telling you who the serpent. We trying to tell you who the serpent is, man.
It's not clear yet if it's really more than that. I mean, not that it that it matters. We're in that time period where so many people are trying to co-opt whoever it is, the shooter, for a political narrative. Like, if we find out, he's a Trump supporter, then liberals breathe a sigh of relief, and because that was Trump people's fault. Or if we find out it was a Muslim or a gang member.
And this is why, brothers and sisters, we always say, get out of all these politics. Get out of all this stuff, man. Let the Most High do what he got to do. Scripture said that's against the law anyway. Our laws, forget their laws. We talking about our laws. Under our Constitution, you know what I'm saying? Under our Constitution, the scripture says in the book of Deuteronomy that we should not we should not have a king over us that is not of our brethren. So we should not be in agreement with this, with neither of these different nations that we are recently in. All right. And because they had their independence yesterday. Well, when was the nation of Israel's independence? When was the nation of Israel's independence? It was in the wilderness. It was on Mount Sinai. All right, and it was very miraculous when we got our Constitution, right? So we got to look at these things, man. All right.
Something that's the opposite.
Except we don't often find that out. In the case of these mass shootings, a lot of these mass shootings are being conducted by young white men that identify politically on the right. So it's not like people are just jumping out and throwing that out of nowhere. It's because we have a continuous problem with these mass shootings, and they vary.
Left wing, right wing, same eagle.
Often fit the profile of the young man we're looking at now.
I think they, statistically, though, are not outside most.
That's the thing about Esau. He always go to statistics. He can work in statistics and all. He can't work in just reasoning and logic. You know what I'm saying? Unless he can combat you with that. But if it's going against him, they're not going to do it. They're going to go back to the statistics and all this other nonsense.
People in the country are white, so most mass shooters are white. But I think it breaks down pretty close to the actual.
That's an interesting argument.
I think it's. It's true that if you're looking for disproportionate kind of characteristics, right? They're all male and they're disproportionately young. And
they're disproportionately white.
Well,
these mass
they're
shootings?
not disproportionately white.
These mass shootings, Robbie.
They're not disproportionately white.
The mass shootings.
It depends how you're defining mass shooting. I think
I'm talking about the major mass shootings in this country that we know about, right? Aurora, we just had one the other day. They are very often young white men like this, are they not? That didn't come out of thin air.
Well, right, but I'm saying it wouldn't be disproportionate, even if 70% of them were, right? Because aren't white people that much of the country? So it's not, and also it's only if you're talking about the deranged. Sure, there have been a number of sort of deranged gunman type people doing these horrific But the crime occurring everywhere in our cities, right, where sometimes multiple people are shot, are not disproportionately
Having a conversation
white. They're
about
disproportionately not white.
There's a different conversation to be had.
You see that? They're disproportionately not right when it comes to these neighborhood shootings, and we take that. How many times they done said on different news channels and news outlets where they said the majority of these gang shootings is predominantly black men or black communities. I mean, we didn't heard that. That's a broken record, right? So when the tables turn now, they don't know what to say. So they're quick to go back to the old and not look at what's really what's currently happening. Man, hey, let the devil be exposed, man. That's all I gotta say.
Gun violence and just what are regular shootings, and when it comes to crime,
I mean, it's all guns. It's all people getting shot.
It's not the same as mass shootings. People conducting what are seamless. Like, no, there is a big difference between people deciding they're going to go commit mass shootings at random large areas with people they don't know because they're being influenced by whatever particular ideology they seem to have, whether it be Buffalo. These things are happening repeatedly. We can't just conflate them in order to, move away, shift the goalpost from having a real analysis as to why is this happening? Why do we keep seeing so many young white men decide to go get these weapons and go out and conduct mass shootings? It's relevant to have that conversation. We can't just move along and let's have a conversation about gun violence in general and all the communities. No,
if that's I don't know why. But why do we only want to explore that when that accounts for like a small sliver of overall violence, overall gun
sliver?
Robbie, first of all, it's not that we only want to account for that. All we ever do is talk about crime and guns and violence. That's a general thing. So let's not act like we don't talk about it. Second of all, we've talked about 3-4 mass shootings in the last however many weeks. That's why. It's not that it's counting for a small amount of these things happening. It's that mass shootings have become so routine that both of us looked at each other like, what new can we say? That's why we're talking about it.
Well, there's not a lot to say yet because we don't know.
Confounded.
All the details. We don't know for sure. I'm seeing conflicting reporting, for instance, on whether he was known to law enforcement already. I saw on TV this morning, pretty sure they were saying on CNN that he was not known to law enforcement, but now I'm seeing local news reporting saying that he was in fact known to law enforcement, which always, and it is something I think we agree on, known to law enforcement. How interesting!
Right?
They dropped the ball yet again.
And
you got it because at first it always, the narrative usually gets worse and worse for the police.
Yeah.
Right?
So if it starts there,
police did great, good job everyone, and then by the end it's Uvalde, right?
Right. Exactly.
So
I'm gonna wait.
I want to find out what exactly they did here.
Yeah, I want to wait to find out more before I launch into my policing failure tirade. But it's coming if I find out more of it.
Yeah. We hope it's not, but we have been even giving the benefit of the doubt to any extent whatsoever was so catastrophically wrong in Uvalde, for instance.
And we also, I just think it's worth mentioning also that we've been having this repeated national conversation about mass shootings, and how this has become very normal in America as opposed to other major countries. And I think it is not lost upon me that literally on 4th of July, Independence Day, this is what we get, right? Instead of having a conversation about celebrating.
Well, what started? What created what made the Independence Day? It was war. War created independence. Celebration of Independence Day. War. Right? Around that time, man, slavery, getting our head beat in. That's an act of war. All right? So I don't know what these people are talking about with this damn holidays, man. That's why we gotta get up out of all these holidays. It's killing us, man. In
the country's independence, we're talking about yet another mass shooting.
And it was not the only shooting over the weekend, obviously. In Philadelphia, another 4th of July celebration was spoiled by gunshots. This video shows attendees fleeing the scene. Thankfully, no fatalities this time recorded from that shooting. However, 2 officers were in fact injured.
Now, the scripture says in the 2nd Esdras 15 that Yahweh will send plagues, which is sword, famine, destruction, and and things of that nature, or pestilence, right? Now, when you look at sword, the modern day sword is the gun. It also can be the missiles, dealing with arrows and things of that nature, according to the Bible. But the modern day sword is the gun. So basically, what he was saying, what Yahweh was saying through the prophet Ezra, was that there's going to be shooting plagues. He was going to send forth. It's going to be shooting plagues because Ezra is talking about the last days, and clearly in these days that we live in, people don't walk around with swords like that. So it's literally talking about the modern day gun. Who the top man, who's blessed with the sword, is the Edomites. You know what I'm saying? That's their heritage. That's their everything. This is how they got the whole world into their image. All right, and their likeness. So and so what the scriptures say? What does the beautiful scripture say in Revelation that we love to pull out on the streets? This is our hope. Revelations chapter 13. And it reads, verse 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Right? So the Lord is using these guns and those that created the gun and those that promoted the gun so heavy is going to be turned back on them. And that's what we're looking at. Clearly we're looking at that. All right. That's why it's all about guns. You know what I'm saying? Man, hey, man, we move by faith and power, man. And this is part of the power, man. You know what I'm saying? This is how when the scripture says, when Yahweh says, if we have faith, we are able to move mountains. What you think mountains is, man? The Most High is moving on our behalf just by faith and truth alone. Right? So when all hell do break loose, hey man, we're gonna be walking. We're gonna be, of course, we're gonna be challenged. Don't get it twisted. We're gonna be challenged. Scripture says we're gonna go those that is gonna make it out of tribulation will catch some fire on their way out. Right? Nevertheless, the Most High has ways to protect us, man. When you go back to some of the records of our ancestors, when they kneeled and obeyed the commandments and stick to the contract of the covenant, even at their worstest time, when they was ambushed and they had surrounded by enemies, right? And he had those enemies fight each other when they was all trying to wipe out Israel, right? He had in Babylon, he had can't think of his name right now, but the guy that wanted to wipe out all our ancestors in Babylon, who was a Agite. I can't think of his name. I just think of kicker for another day. You know who Haman. They are all praise Yahweh Shemashah. Haman, you know what I'm saying? Try to wipe our whole race out. You know what I'm saying? And then he set up a gallows for Malachi, which is, one of our ancestors, which was Esther's uncle, who was a Benjamite. Basically the gallows that was set up for him ended up being set up to him to Haman. So basically he hung himself pretty much. And that's what most of our enemies going to do at the end. They're going to hang themselves. In other words, as the honorable King David said, let our enemies fall in the trap that they set up for us.
No suspect has been arrested. The circumstances of that shooting still under investigation. So there is obviously a gun violence problem in this country. It's I think more subtle than is often discussed in the mainstream media, which makes it sound like it's all right. Some crazy person gets a gun and does something. A lot of crime, a lot of just one-off homicides, a lot of.
Why can't be this a terrorist? You quick tell everybody else a terrorist, but when it's your own people and your own image, who usually they deem them as insane, crazy. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that's just what it is, man. That's who y'all is. Y'all more than that though. Y'all terrorists.
Suicides, a lot of depression and mental illness.
Yes, America.
There you go. You hear that? Mental illness.
Issues. America has a lot of issues, and America has a lot of issues that exist in other places. But America specifically has a mass shooting problem that other countries are not dealing with. This isn't even. Not only have we been talking about shootings like this repeatedly, this isn't even the first one in Philly. This is the second one we've talked about like this in Philly. Not even just the other places. We got to talk about this. This is a major problem. It's not just the media deciding to sensationalize it or people deciding to fixate on this issue. It's because it's become so dangerous. It's become so regular. You can't go to a parade. You can't go to school. You can't go to.
No, that's not true. 99.999% of the time, but they're not. I mean, statistically, they're not really real concerns. The schools are extremely.
I won't get to the point.
Issues, especially when we're recognizing them in so many other ways. It's always dangerous.
Liberals are very good at when else gets punished, which is what we see with policing in general, police in schools, the TSA.
Oh, it's our rights. We can't regulate it. Any suggestion of any kind of regulation is somehow tantamount to trying to destroy people's constitutional rights. And on the flip side, we're going to talk about Jalen Walker later.
Okay, this is what I want to get at. Jalen Walker. This is the man that got shot at 90 times and got shot 60.
Also, who has a gun and fled the police or is said to have had a gun in his car, was unarmed at the time police shot him 60 times and killed him. And then here's the narrative and the rhetoric from people on the right who are just championing guns, our Second Amendment right, yada, yada, yada. Oh, he was armed. The police had to shoot, which is always the conversation we hear whenever black people are killed by police. But on the flip side, we have a mass shooter with a gun that shoots at least 30 people, also fled the police, taken in without incident. So these hypocrisies.
They found the gun. He left the gun behind, though. So
just like Jalen Walker's gun was in his car when police chased him and shot at him 100 times and shot him 60 times and killed him. So
woo, she cut him right there. She cut him right there. Yeah, so that's like I said, the hypocrisy is being shown to all the people of the earth. All right, let's get that real quick. It is what it is, man. All praise to the Most High, man. This is Job chapter 8, verse 13. So are the paths of all that forget Yahweh, and the hypocrites' hope shall perish. All praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Shalom.